All right, horse leaders, so here's your process when you come to volunteer. If you have been volunteering here for the summer session, a lot of this is similar, but there are some changes from summer, so please make sure to still watch through to the end. As a volunteer, you will always sign in the Lucky Hearts, regardless of which arena you're in. You'll always go to the Lucky Hearts to sign in. We do have a hand washing station on the way in for you to wash your hands, and then you'll go around into the corral to sign in. We have the sign-in book, name, date, time, and there is a last column on there for our signature for our COVID symptom check, just signing off that you haven't been experiencing any of those symptoms in the last 24 hours. Once you're signed in, you'll want to grab your name badge. We are not sanitizing name badges, so if you would like to take that home with you to sanitize, you are welcome to do so. You are also still welcome to leave it on the rack here at Hearts and Horses as well. But once you have signed in, then you would go start your normal process as a horse leader. So starting in the tack room, figuring out what tack you need, setting up your cross tie with all of your equipment, and then heading out to get your horse. Just a couple of things to keep in mind. We are opening up a few additional cross ties from the summer. So we're going to have every other cross tie in both arenas open so that you would have one cross tie for a horse, and then in between each horse cross tie will be a sanitizing cross tie. So we'll have 2 racks in it, so both sides can use it for sanitizing all of your equipment after class. So there'll be 3 different cross ties open in the Crow and 4 in the Lucky Hearts for your use, since we have a few more riders. Also, don't forget when you go out to get your horse for the buddy system, it's easiest if everyone in the class does everything together, so you have kind of that built-in buddy to go out with you to get your horse. And also, while you're getting your horse, don't forget about fly masks. Fly masks should be on your horse when you're bringing them in, and fly masks can come off once they're in the cross ties and saddled. Grooming and tacking will be following kind of the basic normal procedures that we're used to with horse leading. One thing to note that's different from the summer is we are decreasing a little bit what we're sanitizing. A lot of the research is coming forward that the virus is not really transmitted through frequently touched surfaces. So we are doing some sanitization for the saddles and reins and things that are being touched a lot, but you don't any longer have to sanitize the cross ties or the grooming box while you're going through that grooming and tacking process. Another thing to remember as we're grooming and tacking up our horses is just to give them a lot of space as we're moving around them, especially around their heads, going around the front. So they have lots of space, they're feeling really comfortable in that kind of claustrophobic environment. The other piece to remember is our hoof picking policy that we implemented for the summer and for the fall. Right now we are saying only staff and instructors' assistants to pick back hooves, but all volunteers, if comfortable, can do the front hooves. Just make sure that you're checking to make sure that someone is doing the back hooves, that your instructor's assistant or your instructor is coming over to do those before class. We are asking all volunteers per normal to be here an hour before class, so you have plenty of time to get all that grooming and tacking done in a nice, calm, relaxed environment. And the goal is to be in the arena for your class 15 minutes prior to class time. So you have lots of time to do that pre-lesson with your fellow class volunteers and kind of get everything warmed up and ready to go for class. During class, we do still have our mask policy in place. So anytime that you are in a public indoor space on the property, you do have to have a mask on. So that includes in the cross ties, and that also includes in the arena. In the arena, independent riders are able to take their masks off once they're mounted and riding, but any rider that has a volunteer, a horse leader, a sidewalker does need to keep their mask on for class, as well as the volunteers need to keep their masks on as well. If you are working with riders or sidewalkers, the sidewalkers will also be wearing face shields. Just to keep that in mind. Also in class, remembering that same concept from grooming and tacking, of just letting the horse have as much space as possible, making sure that you're giving them a nice long lead rope, that they're giving them the space they need to do their job well without feeling that there's a lot going on around their head and around their body. If you are in one of those block classes, the back-to-back classes, same horses, same volunteers, we do have a 15-minute break in between classes. So it's a good chance for horses and humans to just kind of decompress, grab a drink of water, go to the bathroom. Instructors will be loosening your girth a little bit by 1 or 2 holes during that break, so the horses can have a break before the next rider comes in. And we are also asking that you sanitize your saddle and reins in between classes. We should have the same tack for both classes, so you don't need to take the tack off, but you can again, spray nice and close to the saddle. Try not to get as much of the spray on the horse themselves, but trying to keep it really concentrated on the saddle so that can stay sanitized, as well as the reins between riders. You don't need to repeat a pre-lesson for the second class, as the horse is all warmed up and ready to go already. But if you do want to leave the arena to grab a drink of water or go to the bathroom or something like that, you can tie your horse up to one of the ping rings, as long as there are other volunteers keeping an eye on your horse and they're not being left alone completely by themselves. After class, untacking is pretty much following the normal procedure, but just remember that once you remove your saddle and your reins, to take those into the sanitizing cross tie, so you can put them on the saddle rack, spray them down with the Stearamine solution so they can start getting sanitized. Then you'll leave your tack there in the sanitizing cross tie while you take your horse out to their turnout or to their turn-in location, depending on the time of day. You do not need to take Stearamine with you anymore to sanitize halters. But then once your horse is out, then you would come back to the cross ties to put all of your equipment away. A couple of quick reminders with that untacking process. Just remembering fly masks. If the horse is going back out to their turnout, they will leave their fly mask back on. But if it's the end of the day and they're going into their stalls overnight, you can just leave the fly mask hanging on the halter hook of the stall door. They don't need that on overnight. And then just really kind of keeping an eye out to make sure everything's put away, doing a quick sweep of the cross ties after you put your saddle away, making sure everything's put away correctly so that it's ready to go for the next class when they come in to get ready. Another reminder is just keeping an eye out on your horses before you turn them out to make sure they've kind of cooled down from their lesson before we're putting them out into the pasture. Then once you're all done with your class, you've got all your tack put away, your horse put away, then you will just need to check out and sign out and get ready to go. So going back to the sign-in book, checking your time out, leaving your name badge if you want, and then exiting the building. As a reminder, we do have separate entries and exits for both buildings. So in the Crow, you'll exit through the Crow Barn. In the Lucky Hearts, you'll exit through the Volunteer Lounge for those buildings. A couple of other final things to update you on are bathrooms and water. We do have all of the public bathrooms open in both buildings, but it is one person per bathroom. So that especially comes into play with the bathrooms that have stalls. Even if there are multiple stalls, still only one person in the bathroom at a time. We are also keeping our drinking water fountain still closed for fall semester, but the water bottle filler will be open, so you'll be able to use that. But like I said, let me know if you have any questions, and we will see you next week. Thanks.